Alright guys, it's a new day in the shop and we are picking up right where we left off. I didn't do anything without you. Wanted you to be right along for the whole ride, not miss a thing. It has nothing to do with being out playing with snowmobiles.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
But we're picking right up on this, and what we're going to do next is get the front end up in the air. And you can see where the engine crane is, that the front axle is directly under the cross member. So I think what we're actually going to do is pick this up right with the engine crane. That way we can get jack stands under the frame. And I don't know, it's a theory right now. We'll try it out because I can't really get a jack under the center of the frame and I don't want to pick it up from the corner and be all cattywampus. We'll see. We're just winging it here. And I got to get the back wheels off this thing. I'd like this to kind of be in a position where the frame is level up on jack stands, the axle's down on the ground under its own weight, and then we can kind of get in here and see what we're working with. All right, we got this up in the air. The front suspension's all relaxed. And I think what we're gonna tackle now is attempting to get these front wheels off. And I don't know how this is gonna go. Let's see if I can get you in here a little closer. Those little nuggets of rust, yeah, those need to come off. I'm not optimistic about this, and I'm trying to decide whether to put a breaker bar on them or bust out the impact. I have a feeling that this is going to be one of the things that is going to have to involve heat, but I think we'll fill the compressor up and maybe we'll take a crack at it with the impact and see what happens. Now, before I fire up the Noisemaker 5000, I recently saw this meme that said, everybody's a gangster until they're in the shop by themselves and the compressor kicks on. I had to laugh. I think there's some truth to that. Remember to oil your impacts every single time you use them, if you want them to last. Now remember guys, nothing shows the ladies that you're bad like slamming a chrome socket on your impact and giving it full send at 120 psi. Well, that's one successful.
Annoying shift later.
Well, you can see by the arrangement of tools on the floor that we kind of went from a progression from the impact to a breaker bar to a hammer and chisel to an air hammer and yeah, eventually torches. And unfortunately, one stud I was unable to save. But at least I did not blow a hole in the rim. Not that the rim is great, but hey, you know, it's a rim and it's old and they don't make them anymore. So anyway, we got one wheel off. Now we got to do a little reconnaissance on the floor here and get a jack under the axle and get the axle supported. And then we'll put some rollers underneath the axle and move on to the other side. And I think the other side, we're just going to go straight to the torch and heat them up and see if I can back them all off. The one that wouldn't come off on this one was completely rotted off on the bottom. I should have gotten some video for you, but I tried every trick in the book. I tried, you know, pounding the smaller socket onto it, and it was not coming off. I thought since the bottom was completely gone, maybe I could come under the lip of it with a air chisel and fold it off, but because they're, you know, acorn lugs, the lug taper was down into the rim seat and it just it wasn't happening. So unfortunately that's the stud that had to be sacrificed, but hey, you know, 4 out of 5 isn't bad given the condition this thing's in. So we'll do some recon and onward and upward, and we'll catch back up with you in just a little bit. All right, guys, so for a minute, I want you to take some appreciation for working on things in the Northeast, or the Rust Belt, as some people call it. This used to be a lug nut. And what you're seeing here is literally the threads on the inside of the nut. You can actually see light through it. Actually, I wonder if I can hold this up to the light, if that'll help. Oh, yeah. I am astonished that that came off, to be totally honest with you. But hey, you know, we'll take it. So we got one stud that, oops, point the camera where you're looking. We got one stud that's pretty bad here, so it looks like we've got maybe 4 usable on each wheel. But and just as another example, here is the castle nut for the spindle. That used to be the castle nut. I mean, it's almost completely gone. So we're gonna need a castle nut. Let me see if the one on the other side is, yeah, the one on the other side is in pretty good shape. So here's what it's supposed to look like. I've already busted this loose, but we'll pop this right off and we'll take it over and put it next to the other one. There you have it. It's a joy, let me tell you what. So it looks like we're going to be on the hunt for some castle nuts and obviously some lug nuts. But hey, we're gaining ground. Both front wheels are off. So now the next big challenge is going to be getting the brake drums off. As previously stated, the front wheels do not roll. They are bound right up solid. And I did start beating on this one with a sledgehammer a bit. And you can see how much rained out of it on the floor. So yeah, this is going to be a joy. So we'll dive back into this and catch back up with you in a little while. Well, bearing moved a little bit, but not much. We're not off to a good start here. I'll see you in a few hours. Well, we are not having much luck with these brake drums here. And I did actually give the adjusters a try, and naturally they are frozen solid. Solid. Even resorted to a little percussive maintenance with a sledgehammer, and no, frozen, absolutely frozen solid. But the cool thing that happened is, between beating on the rim with a sledgehammer, trying to get this rim off that had that bad stud and lug, and beating on the drum and beating on that, the steering started to move. And I said, oh, we're starting to get movement. So I got up on the steering wheel and put all the horses on it, and it bound up, and I got it to move the pitman arm. This here is the pitman arm. I got the pitman arm to move maybe an inch in each direction. It would bound up, and so I, ran the steering wheel up in one direction and then tapped the pitman arm gently with a sledge, and it came right loose. And now it steers pretty easy. So hey, that was a bonus. So we made some headway in an unintended area at least. But I think we're going to call it quits for today. We'll pick this up where we left off, and it'll be a new day just like that. And just like that, it's a new day, and everything is right where we left it, and exactly the same out here, except for the fact that now it's cold, because the wood stove is not burning. But you will see that it is really bright out there, which, we're not used to here in the Northeast this time of year. So we're going to take advantage of this day today. It's above freezing. We're having our fool's spring, as they call it. So we got a few days of pretty warm temps, which kind of sucks for snowmobiling, but we're going to take advantage of that and use this opportunity to move the other engine and transmission from the back barn into this shop. Well, it's not a bag of suck outside. Well, here's your first walk around of the donor engine. And you can see that it's got a lot of new or newer parts on it. Looks like that coil wire and all the spark plug wires, if you want to call them wires, straps, are new or appear to be new. Transmission shifts. Appears to have a new starter motor on it. New coil. New lower rad hose, 6-volt alternator, and this is the water pump that I was talking about in the last video that's snapped off, and also the 2-blade death fan, so we'll be getting rid of that. However, there is some issues with this engine, and perhaps that's why it was pulled. I hope this is the only reason why it was pulled. You can see that there's a lot of what I can only assume is JB weld all over the head. And there is also a freeze crack in the side of the block right here. So this is not the engine that I would ever put in a car that I plan to restore or take down the road or something to that effect. But for this little project, I think this will be perfect. That is, if it runs decently. We don't know. I have never heard it run. It came in a package deal with some other stuff that I bought, and I was told that it was a good running engine. So we're going to find out. My plan is to just dump this into the chassis as is once we, complete all the work on the chassis and the issues with that front cross member. And we're going to try to fire it up just the way it sits. No coolant, no nothing. And just listen to it. See if it's, a fog machine, mosquito killer, see if it knocks. And if all seems well, then we will address this freeze crack in the side, because that's clearly going to be a problem, and continue moving forward. If this engine does have problems, then, well, we're going to have to reassess the whole situation and decide what we're going to do, whether it's to tear this one down and repair it, or to tear the engine that was in it down and repair that one. But hopefully it's not going to come to that. We're hoping that this is going to be easy. I always eat my words when I say that, but we're going to find out. Onward and upward. All right, so back on the chassis work. Now we are prepared for the freezing cold weather that's going to be coming up here in a few days. Got the engine in here, so if we reach that point while the weather's still inclement, then we'll be good to go. I see nothing more that I can do with these brake drums other than to continue to beat on them. So I am going to pause you guys for a while and turn some music up loud and take out some aggression on these brake drums. And hopefully we hopefully we make some progress without destroying them. All right, guys. Well, I got to pause my music here to give you a little update. What do you guys listen to for music when you're working? I think today we got a little bit of blues, some Buddy Guy, some B.B. King, some Lightning Hopkins. Anyway, we've been hammering and hammering and hammering on this thing, and it is absolutely not budging, not even in the slightest. This is the third time, this would be the third vacuuming here. That's the amount of stuff that is raining out of the inside of this drum. I even tried pulling the nut off the back of the shoe assembly and hammering on the adjuster to see if maybe, I could get things to loosen up, and it is absolutely not budging. I did, however, get the outer bearing out, and I know you can't see in there, but the bearings actually look surprisingly good. There's still wet grease in there, no corrosion that I can see, so it's clearly rust jacked on the brake shoes to the drum. So this is a bit of a problem here. So I'm taking a break from this side because my arms are tired, and I'm going to go over to this side and see if maybe I can get this side apart. And there's something on this side that I have just got to show you. Now, I know that I already showed you what's left of this castle nut, which is just mind-blowing. But this whole thing is a dichotomy, honestly, because like I said, I figured this entire disassembly was going to be, a lot of heat and smoke wrench and cutting things apart. And, then you've got situations like this where the nut is almost rotted to the point of non-existence. And what? Are you kidding me? Like, are you serious right now? I didn't stage this, okay? This is the first time this nut has been off. And I cracked it loose with a crescent wrench, of all things. And I'm spinning it off with my fingers. Look at this. I don't understand. And then you've got situations like the other side where the drum is so rust jacked on there that I can't get it off. I mean, it's just... So, anyway, we're going to hammer on this side now a little bit just to break things up and see if we have any better luck over here. Well, we've hammered on this a little bit to no great avail. However, I do want to show you the condition of the bearings in this thing. So I pulled the outer washer off, and I'm just going to try to work this bearing out so you can see a reveal, if you will. You see what I mean? Bearings on this thing are actually not bad. They look pretty good, all things considering. So I don't know. Like I said, this whole thing's a real dichotomy. But anywho, we're going to continue hammering away here and see if we can get this thing apart. All right, so we're back for more updates. No luck on this side, but you can see, yeah, we finally resorted to the smoke wrench, and we had one success. Hey, did you guys know that before B.B. King became famous, he worked for a farm as a tractor driver, running primarily row crop farmalls, like farmall H's and M's and whatnot. You didn't? Well, now you know. I have no idea if this drum is going to be salvageable. I did dent the end of it a bit, trying to beat the drum off, but some heat cycles with the oxyacetylene torches, and eventually it started to let go. Luckily, the bearings look pretty good. Looks like they're going to be salvageable. The shoes, well, there is some material on them, and so they may clean up and be usable enough for what we're going to do with it. Springs are shot, but we can replace the springs. We might be able to reuse the shoes enough to make it stop. This thing's never going to go down the road.
You sure about that?
So, it just needs to stop. But anywho, we're going to light the torches back up and head to the other side and repeat the same process and see if we can have equal success over there.
Eventually.
Man, So this one came off even harder than the other one. And, yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I said, don't know if we'll be able to salvage the drums or not, but we'll address that at a later date because, you know, they had to come off. There's nothing we can do about it. So if we got to replace the drums, we'll replace them. But on a positive note, look at that shiny bearing. It seems contradictory, but hey, we'll take it. And same as the other side, you know, there's some material left on the shoes, so, you know, we'll get it all cleaned up and keep trudging forward. We got bigger fish to fry before we start the reassembly phase. We are still in disassembly mode. I think next I will, whoops, there, I'm knocking stuff over. I think next I will probably try to get these clamps off for the springs so that I can repair the frame in here. I really kind of wanted to leave them on there because they're so crustaceous, but I think it's going to be a lot easier to get them off, and then that way I can strap a piece of material across here to distribute the load if need be. And I also discovered that there's another crack on the motor mount back here, so we're going to be doing some repairs there. And I cannot take the back wheels off because I don't have a Model T hub puller. And I'm hoping my good friend Terry's going to pull through for me on that one, and we can get the back wheels pulled off this thing and keep trucking along here. All right, guys, well, we've hammered all the scale out of here, and man, this thing is really bad. We got all kinds of hairline cracks and rot and full-blown cracks, and this has obviously been repaired once. There's an old weld down each side, and it's cracked in the heat-affected zone next to each of the welds. So we will definitely have to bridge material onto this in order to have a prayer of being strong enough to hold up. And same thing with this lower section in here. This is where the motor mount goes, so we're going to have to scab material into there as well. Got the spring pack out of it. It is also really bad. We've got multiple broken leaves. I don't know whether I should be looking for another spring pack. I'm not sure. This is supposed to be just a jalopy, not taking this down the road, not a restoration, just a fun little buggy. But this is the main leaf, which is obviously broken. Now I suspect if I set everything back into place and put spring clamps around it that it will hold. But, you know, will the nose be a lowrider or, you know, I'm not sure. We got some things to figure out, we'll put it that way. But first and foremost, we got to put the forest fires out from the, you know, the largest one down to the smallest one. This is definitely the largest one. So we're going to keep picking at this and see if we can salvage it before we give up and cut the cross member out and try to replace it. And go from there. But we're not giving up on this. We're going to keep trucking here. So I'll get back with you in a little bit and see what we decide to do.